In the screencast, I'm just going to run you quickly through how to create a dive log entry and a dive site for your dive log entry in Dive Buddy Pro version 1.1. To get started, we'll click on the Dive Sites tab down the bottom of the iPhone, and then we'll touch the new dive site icon. We'll give this new dive site a name. This is where I learned how to dive actually back a few years ago. So we'll use that as my first dive site. Now if you touch anywhere outside the text field, it'll actually remove the keyboard for you. Now this is where we can actually position our dive site using the map. So we'll use the multi-touch on the iPhone to actually locate our site. The other way of doing it is putting the latitude and longitude coordinates in there, but obviously that's not as fun as using the multi-touch. Or if you press the Use Current GPS button, that will also input the coordinates for you. But unfortunately, you'll still have to zoom in to get the level of detail you require, because what you see in this screen is what you'll get on your dive log entry itself when you choose this dive site. Let's keep on zooming into the wharf. There's Merimbula Wharf itself there. It's an adequate level of detail. And we'll press save. So now you can see there's a pin drop that's been dropped on the world map then. If you scroll down to M, so we'll go down to Merimbula Wharf, you'll find that Merimbula Wharf has been added to our database of dive sites. Now what we want to do is add a dive log entry, so we'll click on the Dives tab and then press New Dive. So by default the new dive is been given the current date and time, so we touch that now, we can actually edit that. So we went for a dive a few hours ago, you can change the time. Now if we touch the dive sites add button here, and we can actually go down to Merimbula Wharf. We said that Merimbula Wharf has been loaded and the map has actually been zoomed in and positioned at the right position, which we chose in dive sites. And from here we can just use multi-touch to change the page and add additional information to our dive. So we can add our buddy using our address book, or we can just type in, so we can type in new buddy. Or if we want to be really lazy, we can just use the address book. There's nothing in my address book. So the dive profile is a standard RDP calculation. So if you put in, if this is your first dive, then your last pressure group would be nothing. So you wouldn't fill that in. And there'd be no surface interval, and there'd be no starting pressure group. But say we've already done one dive, and we finished our dive in pressure group H, and we had a 60-minute surface interval. Our starting pressure group for the current dive we're about to commence will be pressure group B. We do an 80-meter dive for 10 minutes, and you can see there that ending pressure group for that dive is pressure group G. Of course, we want to do a 3-minute safety stop at 5 meters. And as you can see from the calculations done by Dive Buddy Pro, we could have dived for 56 minutes before hitting our no decompression limit. And if you get confused which text fields are what, in Dive Buddy Pro version 1.1 there is an information button here that will just give you an information on what goes where. Equipment, I've given you some standard equipment options you can select, or you can add your own equipment in the comments field. Environmentals are on the next page, followed by a page for your notes, whatever you like in there. Photos, if you touch one of these folders, it'll bring up the iPhone photo gallery. Unfortunately, you can't use the iPhone's camera. There's a bit of a memory limitation. That when you use the iPhone camera, it just runs out of memory. So you'll have to use the normal iPhone camera, then come into Dive Buddy Pro to select the photo you took using the iPhone's camera. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't provide the camera feature inside the application. So if I touch on the folder here, it'll bring up the gallery or the current photo, and then if you click on the folder here, it'll bring up your photo album. You press save, it'll actually just save it to the Dive. Otherwise, it won't retain it. And if you press apply, it'll actually save the Dive, so you can see all the Dives. So the Dives are listed in reverse order. Obviously, you're probably more concerned about the more recent Dives than the previous ones. In the next version of Dive Buddy Pro, I'm going to put an index down the right-hand column to help you quickly locate Dives. Another feature that you may be interested is the user import-export. That's found in the settings. So in your settings, you can put all your details, in your certification details in there. And if you touch the Wi-Fi icon here, it will create a web server, which if you go to your PC or Mac and type in that URL and port number, you'll see the file transfer options there. So I actually might just give you a quick demo on how to do that. Bring up a web browser now. So this is part of what you'll see on your web browser. Unfortunately, I couldn't resize the window, but the first file that's listed there, divebuddypro.sqlite, do not touch that. That's your main database. If you can download that, but if you upload a wrong version or one from another device, it will corrupt your application, and you have to reinstall the application. The next file that you will see there is divelog.csv. You can download that, open it up in Excel, edit that, upload, and then upload it back into Dive Buddy Pro, and that will actually update your database. So that's the preferred import-export method. Divelog.xml is used to export to UDDF compatible Dive applications. It's only used for export, so if you upload a new version into there, it won't make any changes onto your database. Divesites.xml, userprofile.xml, and usersettings.xml. You can export them, so download them to your PC, and then upload them to restore that as a backup. The divelog.csv file requires the divesites.xml. If you've got any sites stored in your divelog.csv, they also need to appear in your divesites.xml. So what I recommend when you import-export is you download divelog.csv, divesites.xml, userprofile.xml, usersettings.xml. Keep that safe, and then if you want to do a restore, you upload those 4 files, uploading the divelog.csv file last, and that will actually then import the whole database for you. So that's pretty much it for just a quick overview of Dive Buddy Pro version 1.1. Currently version 1.0 is on the Apple Store, and version 1.1 should be approved shortly.